You're watching Day or Night Exotics TV. I'm Dale Tonight. This is episode 1 of the Tarantula Spotlight, covering the Cyclosternum fasciatum, the Costa Rican Tiger Rump. We're covering a whole wide range of topics in this one, including that supposed Latin name change for this one. So we'll get right into this one, guys and gals. The C. fasciatum, Costa Rican Tiger Rump. Inside this enclosure is Mystery, my Cyclosternum fasciatum, the Costa Rican Tiger Rump. This T is in desperate need of a rehouse, and I just rehoused my Lasiodora parabana. The LP, Salmon Pink Bird Eater. This was its old enclosure, but what I wanted to show you guys before we get the Costa Rican Tiger Rump into this new enclosure here, which is just one of those odd-shaped small critter keepers. What I did here with the back wall. This is something I've been doing for a couple years now. I usually do it with my pokies, where I take the critter keeper and kind of flip it on his side, and I'll just build my own wall. I know a lot of people like buying, they want to go and buy like the backdrops and you put them in there. If you have like literally $2, you can go to any Dollar Tree or dollar store, get yourself some rocks, some fake wood. The wood in here is actually real wood I picked out from the forest, or actually the woods in a park near my home. So all that wood you see in there is actually real wood from a park, from real trees. The rocks were from the Dollar Tree. You can get a pack of like 50 of them for like $1, and that's what I use. And I use my glue gun, glue them in, as well as a fake plant. That hide is actually just like a super worm container cut in half, glued on the bark, the moss. This is real forest moss. Actually, you buy it in the brick, you get it at any store. This enclosure, I just wanted to show you because I know some of the beginners out there looking for something creative to do, and this is something fun. The only thing you have to watch out with, if you're going to do this, you have to keep in mind the tea that you're going to be putting in the enclosure. So basically, any tea that burrows, this is a good backdrop for it. Any bulkier terrestrial, it's a good backdrop for it. What you want to be careful with is putting this in with a tea that is a little bit too young. You want to go like more of a juvenile. This is my experience. If you've had a different experience, that's fine. You want to do this in an enclosure where your tea is not going to be excavating as much. Now, my tea does, this Cyclosternum fasciatum does excavate, but all this is glued to the wall, so if it does, all it's going to do is just kind of incorporate it all in, and that was the meaning for me to do this. This actually was like the motivation for me to do this, actually, was just go ahead and put this in there. So if she wants to start webbing everything up and doing a lot of crazy stuff, she has some stuff on the walls as well. Because and like I said, you have to know your tea, because if you look in here, you can see that she clearly is like all over the place when it comes to like webbing. She loves the walls and everything, so if she's gonna web up on the walls, I thought, hell, you know what, I'll go ahead and give her something to web up on. Like I said, this backdrop, you have to be careful. If you're gonna put real rocks in there, it has to be secure. It cannot move at all, and pretty much if you put that on there, these rocks on here, if you bark and everything, you're kind of stuck with it. So if you really like an enclosure, like I would never do this in an Extra Terra Nano, but this is a cheap enclosure, like $5, so it's not a big deal, but I wouldn't do this if, they come with backdrops. If you get one that's too expensive, like an Extra Terra Nano or something like that, they do come with backdrops. But if you get like just like a regular 5-gallon tank and you want to do this, I probably wouldn't do that in that, because it's a tank. If you do that, you might want to put it on a separate piece of like a piece of wood or a piece of cardboard or something else, and then stick it in there so you can remove it later. I went ahead and glued it to the walls of this enclosure just because I don't plan on doing any more with it. Any tea that goes in here is pretty much going to have the same kind of setup. So when this one gets rehoused, I basically just got to clean it up a bit, and if I want to toss it or something, it's not a big deal. It's literally $5, so it's not a big deal at all. So like I said, this is what I kind of did with my pokies. I built walls for them in their enclosures, and I haven't done this in a while because it takes a little bit of time and you really use up a lot of your resources. You have to go back and get more stuff, but I mean, it's worth it. This enclosure is kind of odd and weird, so I just want to do something a little extra with it. It's kind of plain and boring. I never really liked my LP the way it looked in there. It was just very boring to me, so this is a different look, and it's, like I said, it's something cheap and fun to do if you're a beginner or intermediate or an expert. If you it doesn't really matter what level you're on. It's just something different, something fun. Another thing, if you're a beginner, if you want to do this, don't enclose in all the sides. You won't be able to see in. So I try to keep the side open where I can look in the hide. If I'm going to place it on my shelf, I don't know if I might place it like this sometimes or in the front. So typically I'll do one wall in the back, one wall on the side. And that way you can still see your tea, but also have a nice little backdrop to look in, regardless if you put it that way or this way. And you can fill in the gaps and everything, but if you're going to take it and put it on the shelf, sometimes depending on what shelf you put it on. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and put it right up here. That black back there is going to fill in the gaps, so it's going to look fuller than it actually is. For example, you know, this is a good comparison. If you look at that right there, see it's a little more filled in. This is my B vagans, Brachypelma vagans, Mexican red rump. There's nothing back there. You can see how like it looks a little boring. But I wouldn't do it on this enclosure. It's a little too big. I try to stick to the small enclosures to do this on, because it's not worth it sometimes to do it on the big ones, even though I might in the future start doing that. I haven't really thought about it too much. It does make your enclosure a little more heavy, which helps sometimes, so it's not so easy to get knocked over or whatever, especially if you use the rocks. But like I said, you have to always be careful how many rocks you put in there and where they're placed. You want to make sure if you place them that you're not putting it on the lid and it'll fall straight on your tea. You want to make sure if they're going to fall off, they're going to fall off on a spot where it's not going to hurt the tea. So that's pretty much this one. So next step, just gotta get the tea out and get this one in enclosure. So we'll be going into get this beautiful little lady out. You can see she molted a little while ago, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's get her out of here. So if you have been caught up on the news, apparently Cyclosternum fasciatum is no longer the Latin name for the Costa Rican Tiger Rump. It is called the Davis pentalor or the Davis fasciatum. I'm going to continue to call mine Cyclosternum fasciatum until like online dealers and some of the other people who know way more about this than I do start referring to the C fasciatum as, you know, a Davis pentalor or Davis fasciatum. But also, I found information that the Davis pentalor was classified by Simon in 1888 as a Guatemalan tiger rump, which is another species. I mean, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Guatemalan tiger rump, Costa Rican tiger rump. You know, I mean, it could very well be the same species, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep my thoughts for this species being the Cyclosternum fasciatum until some of the people who really know a lot more about it than we do actually sign off that is actually not called the Cyclosternum fasciatum and is in fact called, you know, the Davis pentalor or Davis fasciatum. Time will tell with that, but until then, I'm calling mine a C fasciatum. Alright, so I already took the time to get the tea out. I want to bore you with that. We all know how that goes. Pretty uneventful little transfer out of that enclosure. So this one had I got two of these actually at the same time. I got these from I think Pet Center USA, and I mean, I love these guys. The other one matured out and died earlier this year, so this is the only one I have left. This one is like twice as big as the other one, so hopefully this is a female, even though she still looks very legged to me. It wouldn't shock me at all if this one molted and was hooked out. Wouldn't shock me at all. Definitely will get more of these though. The Costa Rican Tiger Rumps are one of my favorite species of tarantula. I mean, there is a presence of a flap, but still, I'm not 100% I would have to say I'm around 75% sure this is a female, and if this thing hooked out the next molt, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So that's pretty much all I could read from that. It's just too mangled up in there. Cyclosternum fasciatum. Founded or classified by Cambridge in 1892. Country of origin, Costa Rica. Average temperature during the day, 82 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit and 64 degrees at night Fahrenheit on average. Weather. Seasons are defined by how much rain falls during a particular time period, which divides the seasons into the dry summer season occurring from December to April and the rainy season, locally referred to as winter, which lasts from May to November. Habitat. 25% of the country's land area is in protected national parks, making this the largest percentage in the world, which has significantly reduced the amount of deforestation. Costa Rica has gone from having one of the worst deforestation rates in the world from 1973 to 1989 to nearly 0% in 2005. Indigenous animals range from the red-eyed tree frog, Linnaeus butterfly, mantle howler, and several large and big cats. Interesting fact, Costa Rica makes up about 0.1% of the world's landmass, but contains 5% of the world's biodiversity. So here is this beautiful specimen of a Costa Rican Tiger Rump. Like I said, a bit leggy to me. The mature male that died was, like I said, almost like half the size of this one. Teeny tiny little mature male. I mean, he died about maybe 3 weeks after becoming a mature male. So I'm actually thought this was a mature male as well. And with this last molt, I was just thinking, okay, it's gonna mature out, and it didn't. And there was like another molt before that when I was kind of convinced. So it's been a couple molts I thought this one might hook out, and it hasn't yet. The last molt, the one I just took out of the enclosure, that actually was like maybe about a month and a half ago or something like that. So this T, if it is gonna hook out, it should be definitely the next one. But I mean, you can see the leg span on this guy. If this is a female, I'll be shocked. Beautiful tarantulas these are. These are definitely really good T's to raise and to own. But like I said, I'd be really shocked if this was actually a female. I mean, you can tell just by the look at the abdomen. I mean, the other one was like a teeny tiny male, and we all know that males can, really drastically have a big size difference from one mature male to the next. Some can be really tiny, some can be huge. Long, I should say, mature males, depending on the species and the growth rate of that particular T and how often you feed them. But this one, like I said, most likely probably a male. Wouldn't shock me, but I'm gonna definitely get more of these. These are awesome T's, and hopefully this one will like this enclosure that I made for him. This one was an excavator like crazy. You saw what it could do excavating wise, but hopefully this one, at least if it's going to be a mature male, hopefully I can be able to see it and appreciate it, because I couldn't see it at all in that last enclosure. It was just too cramped and webbed up for me to see anything. So hopefully this go around in this enclosure, this T is going to actually let me see it. As you can see, it's just a very, very shy T. But that is the Costa Rican Tiger Rump. Hope you enjoyed this spotlight. If you want to see more of my vids, go over to my YouTube channel page, Day or Night Exotics TV, and subscribe there and check out all the playlists that I have up. If you want to talk to me outside of YouTube, you can always hit me up at Facebook at Day or Night Exotics, or you can check me out on Instagram at Dayloader Night. Or if you want to email me, you can email me at tarantuladayloader@gmail.com. That'll do it for this one, guys and gals. I'll see you next time. There'll be more to come as usual. And I want to thank you guys for being patient with me in between this little bit of a reboot. So I'll see you next time, guys and gals. Be safe out there. Take care.